Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Let's take a look here at ICP, see what's going on. Really interesting price action here. Actually, Bitcoin didn't maintain its range as long as it should have for that bullish rectangle that we just saw break out here not too long ago. Actually, here's a better chart you can kind of see. And essentially, now that we've broken free from that, we're seeing a lot of altcoins continue higher. Right? ICP is no exception. Definitely doing well here today, up 4% on a 2% prompt from Bitcoin. So the truth is ICP is very notorious for being like a 2x the upside and sometimes even 2 to 3x the downside of Bitcoin. So keep in mind that's fueling the fire here. Bitcoin starts to taper off. We might see somewhat of a plateau for ICP, but the truth is we haven't broken free from this local descending trend line, which by no stretch is like a guaranteed rejection area. But we do have to, at the very least, establish higher highs and higher lows before we get too ahead of ourselves here. But either way, you look at it here, a little delayed with my anticipation for the price coming up, but it's already done so and it's broken through that local low, which is that $8 mark. So closing above $8 here today, or $7.90 to $8 range rather, would be a very solid continuation likelihood for ICP. So just know that that is potentially happening here right now at this point. But you do want to be careful being a late long right now, just based on how high Bitcoin dominance is and how much Bitcoin liquidation delta is still present here. So give you perspective in case you're not familiar, take a look at this here. We have almost over $10 billion in liquidation delta in the last 5 days. So literally all we're seeing is longs consistently across the board. When this number stays too high for too long, it usually reverses itself. So I do see Bitcoin correcting itself by a small margin. I don't think we're going to see 60, 50K by any stretch. But I do think maybe 65, 66, or 67 could be a good retest here soon for Bitcoin. If that happens, I think some altcoins might knee-jerk reaction down. So just some friendly advice there. Be careful if you're going to be using high leverage. I never recommend that. But specifically at this point, low leverage, low position size is probably going to get you a lot more survivability. Let's take a look here though. Liquidation, this lower level here, about 740 to 720 was not swept. We can see more important late shorts here are looking like they might have a bad day here soon. So 830 upwards of 875 are those next areas of concentration. We zoom out though, of course, we can still see the largest amount of volume or liquidation is still down as low as about 725. So even though we are closer to smaller levels of upwards liquidation, there's a really large, massive amount down below. Now keep in mind, those levels do not have to get hit. It's just a possibility at this point based on how much is there. However, what isn't a possibility is how high this delta is. This is why longs are starting to find benefit. It's because there's way too many shorts in the market. This is exactly what should be happening to Bitcoin, where it should start tapering off soon, where we see a lot of those late shorts in this case here getting destroyed. We can see open interest is the most amount, about 815. So a lot of folks are still underwater on their long positions, but generally speaking, that is somewhat of a resistance zone we're traveling into. We zoom out here a little bit here. Ever since we've been in this range since early October, we can see our macro point of control is about $8. So it's extremely important we close over $8 here today or soon for ICP to have any potential for continuation. We've got a nice bullish engulfing candle here so far today. Let me go ahead and clean up the charts here. Future reference to, I don't like to spend a lot of times in these videos just like adjusting the charts and everything. So what I will do is I'll post a play-out chart here on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. If you're not familiar with that, it's linked down below. But generally speaking, I kind of provide you with all the insight that I cover here in the videos in a chart format. So just keep in mind, again, we got heavy liquidation as low as about 650, 645. I still think that's a low probability to see all that swept, but just know that 680 is a key level support based on previous daily candlestick closures. So heaven forbid ICP makes a run to the downside again, 680 would probably be a solid consideration for a nice spot bag entry. If that even happens, again, that's all hypothetical at this point. Anyways, looking at the daily time frame, we're still bearish. I want you to recognize this. This is not a great thing by any stretch that we're just slowly pumping, because again, when you take a trade with confidence, you want to make sure that you're above key levels. And to me, being above 50 in the RSI is one of those things. We're getting closer. We're just not there yet. Same thing with money flow index. It's still very, very low. So you got to recognize too that low MFI really just implies that this coin doesn't have a lot of sustainability in this price point because it's low volume. Okay. So again, there's that too. And if we take a look at a few other indicators, MACD is trying to converge, but hasn't. Trend strength index is below 0. And if we take a look at the more important simple moving averages, every single SMA is hanging out at about this 820 mark. minus the 200. So we got a very significant amount of confluence there, which basically just implies that we have to close above 820 to 830 to have any legs to stand on here, okay? So please, by no stretch should you be super uber excited that we're in the $8 range and we're going to the moon right now. That's not the case. Bitcoin is doing very well for itself, but it's kind of on the edge of disaster. If it breaks its ascending trend line and starts to pull back, that liquidation delta starts to taper off, price action should come with it. And in turn, we've seen ICP perform very poorly in light of that. And to give you perspective here as well, we can see that with our ICP trade, there was an SEI short 23%. There we go. We got a nice 20% for ICP. I think we shorted from like 790 to 760, right in that range. But again, you want to get in and out of the market quickly. You don't want to sit there and hold every position open for too long. It's not like a greedy market, even though you could argue there's a lot of greed in the market. It's more so on the whale side. We are just the small fish in a big pond. We got to respect that. All right, anyways, we can kind of see this range here establishing itself. We could draw this down a little bit lower, but I'm going to leave this the same because 790 is that support level for us. So I think closing above 790 would be helpful. But there's a distinct probability we're going to probably be doing a little bit of this for a while. That's my thoughts. Either way, closure above this 0.5 fib level, this 840, 830 range would be super solid. That's really what we're looking for. Because you cannot establish an uptrend without establishing higher highs and higher lows first. We're not there yet. So again, try not to get super excited. Put the streamers and all that other stuff away for now. ICP is still kind of in the doghouse. We take a look here at the Ichimoku Cloud on the hourly. Hold on, you know what? Let's do this here first. We're on the 4-hour time frame. We're right there at the 20 and the 50-day SMA. This kind of reaffirms this resistance level. So $8, again, kind of that consistent level. So again, closing over $8 could imply we see 830. Closing above 830 would imply we see further upside from there. Okay, so again, we got stepping stones we need to achieve first. MACD is converging, however, stochastic swinging down and RSI is over 50. This is generally a positive sign. We've since seen RSI being broken. That tells us that we are over that resistance level, which right here appears pretty obvious to me. 790 is that resistance. That should be the new support. So all goes well. Price action comes down to pivot here, consolidates, and then legs up to either retest this level or break through it. Okay, there's a few different iterations there we could see. But Ichimoku Cloud is confirming here that we are super, super close to breaking tentatively bullish. I want to emphasize the word tentative. When people hear the word bullish, they seem to think that it's put everything in to one basket, and that's not really the way to go. So even though ICP is looking strong, and if you compare it with Bitcoin's behavior here, it's following it fairly close, if not slightly better, okay? So again, this is a nice little continuation, probably more likelihood of further upside here, but just know we got a pretty solid resistance at about the 830, 840 range. So if you're gonna, if you're gonna continue to take along here, you want to ensure that you secure profits between here and there at some point, okay? That's just the right thing to do. Leaving this open until $10, $20, $30 is just a terrible idea. You're gonna get eaten up on fees if you're using leverage. As a spot bag consideration, totally different story. Keep in mind whenever I analyze the charts here, I'm mostly making these for those who trade leverage. Like 99% of people use leverage of some sort, and it's important that you recognize you got to be kind of safe and careful with it. All right. Okay, anyways, I talk about all that in my Trading University Academy community. Links down below for that. Other than that, I want to say thanks again so much for being an awesome part of my life. Deeply appreciate the ICP community, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.